Hi there, this is Tara with the Thunder Bay Chamber of Commerce. I am here to welcome Tamara Reynolds, who is with owner, operator, and therapist for North Superior Art Therapy. Welcome, Tamara.
Hi, Tara. Thank you very much.
I am here to welcome you to the chamber, but I also want to take this opportunity for you to let people out there know what you do.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me to be a member of the chamber. I think it's a great organization that can advocate for local businesses and for owners. And there's some good benefits that I've seen so far with going on the website and some of the information that's filtered down to the businesses during this COVID lockdown and everything. So thanks to the chamber for all that they do. Really appreciate that. So North Superior Art Therapy started actually back in 2017 when I was looking for something that I needed to do after I retired. So I am a retired police officer with the Thunder Bay Police, and I retired in 2018. But when I was starting my journey towards retirement, I was thinking of something that I needed to do in order to give back and also to continue on with another career. So I found the Toronto Art Therapy Institute and did a distance learning program starting in 2017 to become an official qualified art therapist. So as an art therapist, and I usually get this when I tell people I'm an art therapist and they go, an art what now? Because they're not really sure of what art therapy is. So it's a way for people to express themselves non-verbally using art, using different mediums that sometimes trauma or anxieties or anything their symptoms are experiencing that they can't express verbally, or that they don't necessarily want to talk about everything that's going on. So art therapy is a nice alternative to talk therapies because they're able to express themselves using art, using color, sculpture, anything at all. A lot of the artwork that people do is spontaneous. As you can see behind me, there's some examples of artwork that I've done that's very spontaneous and just playing with color and shapes. And a lot of these things that I do back here, I do with some of my clients. So they're able to express themselves. Sometimes they can talk while they're doing it, and sometimes they don't want to talk necessarily and just engage in the artwork.
Well, that's one thing that I was going to ask about as well, because you are a psychotherapist qualifying, and so people, if they find while they're doing the art that they do want to talk through some things, that you are able to assist them in that way too.
Absolutely. So a lot of my approach is using cognitive behavioral therapy. Excuse me. So it's about changing the cognition, which helps to change our behaviors and helps to change how we respond to things. So I use a lot of that to try to get people to think differently about things. So instead of being negative or thinking that they're not good enough or that they're going crazy. I get that a lot. People feel that they're going crazy or that they don't understand what's going on. So we talk a little bit about the brain and how it responds to trauma and anxiety, and they're able to develop some coping skills, and we talk about it. I mean, we talk about it by changing that cognition part so that they're thinking differently about themselves or thinking differently about the incident.
And I don't think it's that's particularly poignant for absolutely everyone right now. Right now, as people have suffered the consequences of COVID-19 over the past 10 months, or almost 10 months, and the challenges that it will continue. We were talking about this earlier, Tamara, that people are experiencing more stress and anxiety than maybe that they were accustomed to in the past. And this might be a great way to facilitate a means by which to work that out with your assistants.
Absolutely. I mean, there's even that sense of loss, right? There's loss and there's grief. People are grieving the fact that they can't go to work or they can't see their loved ones. So there's a little bit of grief and loss. People are losing loved ones as a result of COVID. And there's just the unknown, which of course ramps up the anxiety levels. People just don't know how to deal with the anxiety. They don't have an outlet in order to express it. So by coming in and actually using color or using shape or just being in the present, which is what art therapy also has the ability to do, is to put you in the present. So that at least for an hour, which usually sessions are an hour long, you have that ability to just express yourself. And it's okay if you cry. It's okay if you yell. It's okay if you scream, because the ability with art therapy is that the paper, whatever you see behind me here, the paper acts as a container for those emotions, and you're able to see it emotionally, but through color or shape or whatever it is that you're trying to express. And it does help because it's a mindful activity, right? We talk about mindfulness and people think that mindfulness is sitting up, on a rock and doing the, and meditating, right?
So true. It's
Which
so true.
absolutely, meditation is part of mindfulness, but mindfulness is just being aware in the moment of what's going on and
Right.
aware of what's going on in your body at the time. I mean, you can do mindful eating. You could stand in the shower and be mindful. So, for example, what does the water sound like? How does it feel on hitting your scalp? The smells, the feel of the puff or the washcloth or whatever you use. That's being mindful. And it's just being aware of the present moment and relishing in that. I have some people that will do mindful walking. I do mindful walking. So I take my dog out. And so when I'm walking, first of all, I notice how present the animal is, where it doesn't matter what squirrel it is. She could have seen the same squirrel yesterday. It doesn't matter. She still goes after it, right? So they're so mindful and in the present. And then if I'm having a hard time, then I'll think about the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it's a really easy technique. So it's about 5 things I can see. So what are 5 things I can see right now? What are 4 things I can smell? What are 3 things I can touch? Or whatever, using your senses as you walk. That's being mindful. So those are the kinds of the things, and those are techniques that I can help people with. So it gives them an idea of a coping skill that they can use when they're feeling anxious or when they're feeling overwhelmed, or, if they're feeling some grief. Journaling is a good thing as well. Like there's lots of things that I do with clients that can help that, as coping mechanisms to get through it.
That is fantastic. And I just wanted to touch on this point. You don't have to be an artist to get help from you and to participate in this, right? Because I
Absolutely
myself
not.
would love the opportunity to do this, even to just get those emotions out on paper, and then maybe what comes out of it is something beautiful or something I might want to burn, but that could be an exercise too.
Absolutely. That's very cathartic, as they say, is to burn something, right? And you don't have to be an artist. And yes, I went to university and I do have a visual arts degree. I actually went to university to become a high school art teacher and then didn't get a job and then spent, 28 plus years as a police officer. And now it's come full circle. And yes, I admit that, yes, I am an artist, but you don't have to be an artist. If you can doodle or if you can drop paint on a page or you can trace some folds, then you can do art therapy. And that's the beauty of it. Because when we're kids, and here's something that I tell a lot of clients or people, when you're 5 or 6 years old and you come home from school and you have a little blue blob on the paper, and your parents or your mom or dad or caregiver asks you, "Oh, little Annie, what is that?" You go, "It's a dog." And they celebrate it. Doesn't matter if it's a blue blob or a red blob. What happens? They put it on the fridge. And, "Oh, look what little Annie did. That's a little blue blob, but you know what? It's a dog." Right? But if you do that as an adult, or as a teenager, exactly that reaction, right? People would laugh. They would laugh and going, "Okay, really? Like you think that's a dog?" Right? So we
Yeah.
lose that little, we lose it as we get older, because what happens is we get people telling us, "You can't paint. Why are you even trying?" Or "You can't shoot a basketball," or "You can't skate. Why are you trying out for hockey?" Right? And that's that inner critic. And we start to listen to that negative thoughts all the time, or that negative voice inside. So what art therapy does, it actually gives you the opportunity to explore the little bit of that child that you were before. And it doesn't matter what it
Wow.
looks like. It's a non-judgmental environment. I mean, people are very surprised by when they do the artwork and they go, wow, I really did that. That's awesome. Right? I do things like working with the inner critic. So they might use sculpture or clay. I do things with gratitude scrolls. I do affirmation cards. So those are the kinds of directives or art projects that I give clients and individuals to try. And they're amazed. It's like, wow, I really did that. And there's a little bit of sense of pride. And that's what it's about too, is embarking on a different journey and a way to express yourself that isn't necessarily talk therapy. And hopefully it's a little bit of fun.
I think that that is fantastic, and I think a little bit of fun attached to something that, helps us or helps our mental health, combining those 2 things, is amazing. Now, given the present circumstances, it won't always be like this, but how, are you able, given COVID, to, assist people or facilitate this either in person or virtually? Maybe you can let us know.
No. Well,
Aw.
I know.
I'm calling you right after this interview.
Well, I mean, I'm very fortunate that during lockdown, I'm able to see clients because I am regulated by the, excuse me, the College of Registered Psychotherapists of Ontario. So I am permitted to see clients in person. So I do have an office at 106 North Street in Thunder Bay near Victoria Avenue. The directions are on my website if you need it, but I can see clients in the office. I'm able to physically distance. I'm taking precautions. I spray down everything that's used, all the art supplies. We wear masks, and we're apart from, sit across from each other at the table. So there is some protocols in place. Plus, to become a client, you do fill out a screening form prior to coming to the
Right.
appointment. So that's in place. But also, I do appointments virtually. So
Fantastic.
there is the option that you can do a virtual appointment. As long as you have something to, markers or crayons or paper or whatever, we can actually do an art therapy directive virtually. Excuse me. So there are those 2 options. Also, hopefully in March, I'm planning to run a couple of groups,
Nice.
limited to whatever the province dictates under the lockdown. So hopefully in March, there'll be a couple of groups that I'll start, and there'll be themes for the group, and, up to 5 or 6 people can come, and we'll do some groups as well. So
I think that is just fantastic. I could just imagine myself calling a number of my friends saying, I think we could all use an opportunity to work some of the frustrations out. Let's get together and book a session together. And we could all benefit from the psychological assistance that we will garner through that session with you. So, oh my goodness, I think that that is fantastic. So,
absolutely.
if people want to book with you, how do they find you?
Well, there's a couple ways. They can email me at trnet494@icloud.com. Or you could go to my website at northsuperior.atservices.ca. Or if you Google the business or North Superior Art Therapy, then it comes up with my information to book through the website, and you can book an appointment.
Excellent, and
Um,
even better, they can find you through our chamber member
you can find
directory,
me through the
and that will
chamber
link
member
to your
directory.
website. Your phone number will be there, link to your website.
Absolutely. Yeah, or they can call. I mean, people
Yeah,
can call and we can go through it, and I can put them on the system
right.
to book an appointment. Once the profile is created on, the Jane program that I use, then they can book appointments and see the availability. I do work Monday to Thursdays. Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays I take off since I am semi-retired. Uh, but I mean, depending, if more people need help, then absolutely I would add Fridays as well to my schedule. But right now
That
it's
is
just Monday to Thursday.
that is fantastic. North Superior Art Therapy. I am very excited, Tamara, with what you are doing and providing and how important this is. And never more important than it is now and in the coming months and perhaps the coming years. So thank you for doing what you do for our community and for your clients. And thank you for being a chamber member. And I welcome all that watch this to consider calling Tamara and booking an appointment. You won't be disappointed.
Thank you so much, Tara. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about another passion of mine. You know, it's combining art and therapy and helping people. And that's one of the main reasons to continue on with this, is to help people in our community, because we do need it. And it's for businesses, individuals, and groups. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.